Yo, everyone, welcome back to the channel for some more Warzone tips and tricks. Today, I'm going to be going through about 3 to 5, I would say a little bit more unique tips that I think help you guys in all scenarios come Warzone. Let's get right into it. Hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. Okay, starting off with number 1. This is something that I feel like is kind of subconscious. Okay, I don't know if, I'll be honest, that in my head it sounded smart. When I said it out loud, it didn't really make sense. So I'm going to kind of just backtrack and say it again, all right? We're going to make it simple. Headshots, 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 okay? I feel like people go for headshots sometimes, but one thing I've realized with is the damage is when you actually go for headshots in Warzone and hit them, bro, the gun kills in like 2 bullets quicker. And I know it doesn't sound crazy, but when you're in a gunfight and you get melted, you're like, wait, whoa. And then you watch the kill cam like, damn, like when you hit them headshots like that, you get fried. So if you guys feel like you're losing certain gunfights, your TTK maybe isn't as high as you want it, as fast as you want it, sorry, I would say try to go for headshots as much as possible, right? Especially when you have like ground loot at the start and you're kind of in the open area. Like people you go up against in Warzone generally aren't going to be too good. They're going to be kind of just average players, so they're not going to be utilizing, you know, cover and snaking and stuff like that. So one thing you can do is kind of just really go for headshots, because there's going to be less punishment for going for them, because you know most people won't react to it, so you can get those kills quicker and then reposition. Going on to number 2, reposition in Warzone, especially. Let's just talk about solos or squads, right? And so let's start with solos, right? You are going to get third partied every single opportunity. So one thing I always say is when you get a kill, boom, reposition, because you want to make sure, especially if you don't have a silencer, right? You want to make sure that the next opponent is guessing where you're coming from, okay? So you have to reposition. It's so crucial. Now let's go to squads. Even more of a reason, right? Let's say you kill one person and his teammates are going to communicate. They're going to say where you are, and if you come back through that same area, they're going to likely be ready. So one thing you want to do is keep them guessing, reposition, and be annoying, okay? Super crucial. Another thing on that in terms of Warzone is sound is so important. Sound cues are crucial. There's no dead silence, right? So sound cues are basically one of the most important things. So one thing I like to do, and I watch a lot of top players do this as well, is walking around corners but quietly. And the way you can do this is by aiming down sight and walking, right? You could also crouch as well to be really silent, but you walk a lot slower. But let's just say you're walking around a corner, you feel like you know where someone is, you can kind of just walk around a corner and aim down sight, and what happens is you're not running, you're just walking, and they can't really hear you. They can hear you, but not to the level as if you're running. So make sure if you know someone's coming around the corner and you're ready, just aim down sight, walk around the corner, and you'll be able to soundhole them. They won't be able to soundhole you. Boom, easy kill. Really good stuff to do. And I feel like it's just something that I always see in Warzone, that when I watch a good player play, they catch so many opportunities. And imagine if you combine those 2 tips, right? You're aiming down sight around the corner, you see him get a headshot, you're just going to melt them quickly, reposition, and just off the break, you're already becoming a more established Warzone player, okay? Another one is bounty. For me, bounties are like my favorite contracts to get. Maybe it's because when I used to play, they were so crucial. I do feel like all contracts are good, but the reason I like bounty specifically is because you could get them completed without having to do anything. So let's say you're playing Resurgent solos, right? You're playing Rebirth, and you see a bounty. For me, there's no reason not to do it unless you're going to do like a scav or something, right? Let's say you're not doing contracts. Bro, get the bounty because it's like a free cash. 1, you see where people are. 2, it's just free cash. You get the kill, you get free cash. It's perfect. So I think bounties are so good for cash flow, which is what you really need to be utilizing. This is another thing I don't see average players do in my experience. I think what they do is they are trying to play for the win. They are not trying to play for improvement or overall just kind of being that guy in the lobby. And what I mean by that is this, okay? I used to play Fortnite, right? And this is very not much just a story about my life, because I know you guys don't care about that and I still blame you, but I used to play Fortnite. There were people I used to play with and they were very average. They were very average. And whenever they would play, I'm like, look, you guys need to practice, like off play by yourself and just practice. You know what I'm saying? Like get into some solos and play and just kind of get used to the gunfights. Sorry, it cut off. But yeah, my point was basically, I would tell them, right, go play, go improve, go get active on the map, man. Like, what we doing? Like, and I spoke to him, I was like, yo, how you play? He's like, bro, listen off, I finished second. I'm like, okay, I see you at 10, 15 kills. He's like, yeah, I got 2. I'm like, huh? I'm like, wait, what do you mean you got two, bro? Like, you playing with your feet? And he's like, no, I hit it in a box, you know, with an RPG. I was like, okay, so what did you improve? And he goes, I don't know. But I was second. I was like, okay. And that's the mindset I feel like most Warzone casuals have. They look at placement rather than performance. I am completely opposite of that. I feel like if you want to get better, right? I'm going to use this case study, okay? Let's say you're playing a normal game. You spend 25 minutes and you get 4 kills, okay? You might play for 3 hours and get like 20 kills, bro. You barely get kills because you're consistently going to be looking for people. Sorry, you're going to be hiding and playing edge of the zone. You may only get into a few gunfights, right? But let's just say you don't worry about the win and you're playing just to get better and fight people and push people. You may get 10, 15 kills a match. In an hour, you've already got more kills than the other player. You've had more experience in those 1v1 gunfights. And then when it gets to end game, you're not nervous because you know that you don't have that imposter syndrome of like, oh my god, should I be at the end of the lobby? You're like, I'm the best here, of course I should be here. This is just natural. Now it's about closing the game out. And I think people kind of miss that. People always go for like, oh, placement wins, but I'm like, I'm not saying to lose the game on purpose, but especially early and mid game, bro, go for kills, man. Get active, get better, improve your gunfights. Then when you're near the end game, you're going to be comfortable. You can hold your own. You're not just going to hide and kind of hope for the best scenario. You know what I'm saying? So that's my kind of form of improving. I think it's super crucial. And the other one is just kind of taking smart gunfights. In Warzone, there's certain times that you push a team or a certain scenario and you're like, I actually don't have to push this. And just having that discipline to kind of disengage, I think is so crucial. When you watch a good player, sometimes you're like, oh, hang on, like he didn't actually take that gunfight because he didn't have a favorable position. And that's pretty smart. Like you can choose your gunfights in Warzone for the most part. I feel like it's a really good skill as well. And also just kind of like when you're armoring up, like making sure you're repositioning, buying time. Like these are kind of just general skills I wanted to just talk about. No real structure for today's video. These are just things that I have been thinking about when watching new Warzone players play and how they can improve. I really feel like these are some general tips and tricks, and hopefully you guys could, you know, I know I didn't structure it properly today, but if you can maybe like absorb some of those points and say, right, I'm going to work on those 2 things today. You know what? I'm going to work on, okay, my PRs is 12. All right, what I'm going to do is not worry about winning the game. Right now, I'm going to say, right, can I improve my floor? That's another point. If you can improve your floor as a player, so imagine every game you go in and you either get 0 kills or 7 or 1 or 9. It's like, it's a bit too inconsistent. What you should say is, right, I'm going to see if every game I play, I can get 5 kills, just as my floor. Once I get 5, no pressure. What I do from that is fine. It's you've done your job. But every time when the game starts, you're like, okay, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. That's your goal. Don't worry about 10 or 20 or 30. Just work on your floor. Let's say then you die on 1, say, right, why? What did I do different to get 5 kills compared to 1? And kind of just self-analyze what you're doing wrong at the start. That's a big thing. And yeah, another thing is landing spots. I personally land at different spots, but sometimes I land in the same spot. I think there's benefits to both, but I wouldn't really stress about it. I feel like it's good to adapt. At the same time, it's good to have a consistent landing spot. I feel like, again, depends on your practice. Sometimes I'm like, right, I'm gonna land at the same spot, learn this spot, go through it, kind of find the best timing, stuff like that, where the loot is, Sometimes I'm like, right, I'm gonna go with the zone, go with the bounties, and you know, you get used to rotating at different points of the map. So I feel there's advantages to both, but like I said, just kind of some general tips and tricks. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys for another gameplay video tomorrow. Peace.